The Reform Party isn't a new movement, it's a Tory witness protection programme. They tell you that the last government was the most infamous people smuggling gang in history.
Name the most infamous people smuggling gang ever. It's not these guys, and it's not these guys. It's these guys, the last Tory government.
Yet they've filled their own ranks with the very people who were driving the getaway car. They want you to believe that they're the cure for the greatest betrayal, while their own benches are packed with the architects of that exact system. It's a classic bait and switch, and as much as I love right-wing versus right-wing, they still need to be held to account. Reform wants you to be furious at the Tories, but Reform is now stuffed with the Tories. And the scare stats in this rant doesn't even survive basic scrutiny. So we're going to go through it point by point. But just bear in mind, they're claiming the Tories knowingly smuggled in known sex offenders and used super injunctions to hide the bill. Fine, if that's the charge, then Reform is basically a reunion tour for the accused.
Name the most infamous people smuggling gang ever. It's not these guys, and it's not these guys. It's these guys, the last Tory government. They smuggled in tens of thousands of Afghans into the United Kingdom.
Because deputy architect was Lee Anderson, he was the deputy chairman of that so-called smuggling ring. He didn't just have a seat at the table, he was helping set it up while those 24,000 unvetted Afghans were supposed to be flown in. He only jumped ship in March 2024 when the Conservative ship was already underwater. The cabinet retreads. You've got Sir Jake Berry, former Tory chairman, and David Jones, a former Welsh secretary, both flying the Reform flag. Then there's Maria Caulfield, health minister in that exact same government, and Andrea, I give middle fingers, Jenkins, who is now the Reform mayor. Plus, over 60 Reform candidates in the local elections were Tory defectors. I'm pretty sure we've all seen Layla Cunningham now. She's everywhere in the media right now, acting as a fresh voice for Reform. But just before the turquoise rosette, she was a prominent Conservative councillor in Westminster. She didn't just witness this betrayal, she was part of the machinery that Reform now claims deserves extinction. So, with all that in mind, let's have a look at the first clip.
They smuggled in tens of thousands of Afghans into the United Kingdom. They spent billions of pounds of your money to pay for it.
Let's kill the language trick straight away. This wasn't people smuggling, it was a government relocation scheme set up after the Ministry of Defence leaked sensitive data. The leaked file covered around 18,700 Afghan applicants. Secret route created because that breach applies to around 7,000 people, not tens of thousands of random men. And the money? Well, for this specific scheme, the government's own watchdog puts the cost at hundreds of millions, not billions. You only get into billions if you lump every Afghan scheme together and pretend it's all the same thing.
They took out a super injunction to keep the whole thing secret and prevent you from knowing about it.
Yes, there was a super injunction, that part is true, but it wasn't there to hide the embarrassment. It was there because publicising the leak would have put the named Afghans at risk of Taliban retaliation. You can still criticise the secrecy, especially Parliament being kept in the dark, but pretending it was some cartoon villain cover-up kind of misses why the courts were allowed it in the first place.
And here's the worst part. The plane loads of Afghan men that the Tories smuggled in included men who had been kicked out of the Afghan army for sex offences. And the Tory government knew that. They knowingly smuggled in known sex offenders into this country at your expense and kept it a secret from you.
This was the most explosive claim, and also the one with no proof attached. There's no official evidence showing the government knowingly brought in convicted sex offenders under the scheme. Ministers have flatly denied it and said anyone making that claim should provide evidence to the police. So, unless someone produces names, cases, documents, this is an allegation, not a fact. Big claim, zero proof.
Government data shows that Afghans are 22 times more likely to commit sex offences in this country than British nationals.
That 22 times number is doing a lot of emotional work, and it doesn't really survive the scrutiny. Even Sky's News' own data team says it was nowhere near that, and that a more realistic estimate is closer to 3 times with huge caveats. Why? Well, because the population numbers being used are shaky, the data is limited, and the stats get inflated depending on how you count the people. So no, 22 times is not solid evidence, it's just a scare stat.
And yet the 24,000 Afghans that they smuggled in weren't even vetted. No wonder they used your money to cover it all up.
And this one is just wrong. According to the government's own watchdog, people on this route went through biographic checks, were moved to a third country first, then had to pass a Home Office visa process. You can argue about policy all you like, but no, vetting is just simply a lie.
Rishi Sunak called an early general election shortly after learning the super injunction was about to be lifted, and you were going to learn the truth.
The timeline is interesting. The motive is not proven. Yes, a judge ruled the induction should be lifted on the 21st of May 2024. Yes, Sunak called the election the very next day. But the injunction was appealed and stayed in place, and there was no document showing that Sunak did this because of the Afghan League. You can raise eyebrows and you can ask questions, but you cannot present the motive as fact without any evidence. Well, unless you're Zia Youssef, obviously.
Now, you probably remember the Tories were booted out of office in a landslide. But just imagine if the British public had known about this.
And then this is where the commentary just turns into lazy storytelling. The data being argued over about convictions, not some proven link between integration and sexual crime. Even the analysis looking at this warns of age matters, population makeup matters, and the data is messy and incomplete. Jumping from here's a disputed fact to this proves the lack of integration causes sex offending is a massive leap and an unjustified one.
It's clear that the remaining Tory MPs owe their MP salary to the greatest betrayal of the British people in modern times. The Tories deserve electoral extinction. Come and help us deliver it to them.
Zia reckons the Tories have deserved electoral extinction, and he's probably right. But Reform betting that you're too distracted to actually look at the names on the ballot. They want you to believe that swapping out a Tory MP for a Reform candidate changes the system.
And join us.
It doesn't. Half these people were literally Tory MPs 6 months ago. It's all the same instincts and the same failures, just a fresh logo and a louder script. They'll take a genuine scandal, like a data breach or a botched rescue mission, and they'll all set it on fire. They'll inflate the numbers. They'll manufacture their panic to keep you looking at the shiny object. All while their own ranks are filling up with the exact same people who ran the show they're now pretending to revolt against. It's a bit rich, isn't it, really? This isn't some brand new movement. It's the same old crowd moving to a different pub because they got barred from the last one. And look, if your pitch is the establishment lied to you, okay, fine. But if you're going to inflate the numbers, throw out unproven claims, and quietly rehire the people that you swear that you're purging, all with the pitch being, trust me bro, you're not exposing the con, you are the con. And you can see what happened to Zia the last time he made one of these walking videos in the video that's on screen now. Thanks for watching, don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time.